What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Talkin BS. I'm your host, as always, Zamora. If you can, please consider following me on Twitter at ZamoraBSB. Best place for any and all show updates, as well as NBA memes and my minute-to-minute thoughts on what's going on with the NBA. You know, cap projections and free agency and trade ideas and all the stuff I think about while making all these off-season previews and all of my content as well. Also, just made a new TikTok at Talkin.bs. It's where I'm currently releasing my entire NBA big board, my top 30 for the NBA draft coming up in a couple of days. I'm super excited about. So yeah, go ahead and follow me on TikTok as well. Now, if you clicked on that link, you already know what time it is. Today, we're doing an off-season preview of the Oklahoma City Thunder, a team with a super bright future, all the assets in the world, a great roster. You guys literally just won the Western Conference this past season. This is crazy to have a team so young and with a front office that has done such a good job of putting a team together like this and still has so many future assets and so much optimism ahead of them that it's just wild to me. So this is going to be a really fun one. We're going to try to keep it simple. We're going to try to keep it short because, Sam Presti's done a great job of, doing most of the work. So let's get into it. Let's cover the Oklahoma City Thunder. So first things first, what we're going to do is we're going to cover the weaknesses that the Thunder need to improve on. We're going to go over the tools that the Thunder have at their disposal to improve this roster. Then we're going to put on our GM cap. We're going to pretend we're Presti, and we're going to come up with a checklist of things that we must address before we go into the next season. Then we're going to come up with some trade ideas, the draft. We're going to hit free agency, all that fun stuff. And then hopefully all that leads to a tough 10-man rotation that you guys can be super excited about heading into the next season. So first things first, let's check out the weaknesses and where Oklahoma City needs to improve on. Second in the league in points per game, 9th in the league in points allowed per game, 27th in rebounds per game, 26th in rebounds allowed per game, 21st in three-pointers allowed per game, 24th in three-point attempts allowed per game, 29th in offensive rebounding, and 28th in offensive rebounding percentage. So basically, the entire sum of all your problems has come down to two things. It's allowing three-point attempts, too many of them. Not a big deal. You guys aren't the worst at it, but definitely something that could be improved on. But the big one is obviously rebounding. It was a narrative that was spun all year long. The team just struggled to rebound the ball. It actually went down a tad bit in the playoffs as well. Actually got a tiny bit worse, as do most stats in the playoffs, but need to fix that. Need to add some size. Need to add somebody who can hit the boards hard. And so that is what we're going to keep in the back of our mind as we're doing this. So to improve on those things, we have the 12th overall pick in the first round of the NBA draft. No picks in the second round, though. You do have Lou Dort's, Kenrich Williams, and Ousmane Dieng's contracts that are all positive value and worth trading for. You have over $103 million in committed salaries in the 24-25 season, leaving you $38 million under the salary cap. Now, you could own up to 5 firsts in 2025, 1 in 26, 3 in 27, 2 in 28, 2 in 29, and your own first in 2030. So now that we know Oklahoma City's weaknesses and how to improve on those weaknesses, let's put our GM cap on. Let's act like we're Presti here. Let's come up with a checklist of things that we really want to make sure that we address before we go into the next season. So first things first, right? Everybody keeps telling me the Thunder's window is now. We need to capitalize. We need to make a big trade. We need to make a big free agent signing. We need to spend all of our money. We should trade all of our draft picks. I don't think that's the way, guys. I think there is ways to take a swing without going and getting a guy who's 34, 35 years old, blowing the timeline on this thing for, a quick fix and trying to microwave this whole thing. I think we need to continue that culture, right? We need to think big. We need to think not just like superstar, like big name wise, but we need to think physically big. We need to add some big men. We need to add some rebounding, of course. And we need to keep both the future and the present in mind. Okay. We need to make sure that what we build is upon the foundation that Sam Presti and that front office have already built upon, right? Went and you got young guys in Shea, you drafted Chet, you drafted J-Dub, got guys in the wings like Ousmane Dieng. I think it's not like Presti to go and try to swing huge and make a giant thing, like a big deal, like signing Paul George or, trading for Joel Embiid or, trading for Donovan Mitchell, right? That just doesn't make sense. It's just not Presti's MO. He's built a culture here, and I think it's all about maintaining that culture and bringing in guys that fit into that culture. So with that in mind, I came up with a trade that I think that really addresses pretty much every one of those on that checklist. Now, nobody has come up with this idea, but I think that this would be the smartest thing to do. Also, I really do think it's a Presti type move. So in this trade scenario, the Oklahoma City Thunder would acquire the second overall pick from the Washington Wizards in exchange for the 12th overall pick in the 2024 draft, a 2025 first via Oklahoma City, and a 2025 first via Utah, top 10 protected. You guys have so many picks. I would just tell Washington, take 2 of our picks. It can be whatever. In my opinion, I think it would be wise of them to try and go and get as many of those 25 picks as they can. 2025, the draft class is a whole lot better than this one. You move back in this draft 10 spots. You pick up a couple extra first-round picks for next year because next year their pick has been dealt to New York, though it is top 10 protected, and I do anticipate that Washington is going to end up being in the top 10 of the draft next year. I highly doubt that they're going to be outside the lottery. They're probably going to end up with that pick, but just in case, right, you pick up an extra one from Oklahoma City that's guaranteed, right? No protections on it. It's going to land within the 20s, but that's fine. It's a guaranteed pick in that 25 class. Like I said, Oklahoma City has picks and picks and picks. You can go way far into the future if you'd like any of those picks as well. And that allows you the ability to start this rebuild the right way, right, in Washington. You've got Bilal Coulibaly, but that's basically it. I guess you could consider Jordan Poole a foundation piece if you really want to, but send Kuzma out, get another pick. Get as many picks as you can and start this rebuild the right way. Look at the Oklahoma City model for what it is and build like that. For Oklahoma City, you can go now and with that second overall pick, take advantage of whoever Atlanta leaves on the board. If it's Donovan Clingan, take Clingan. If it's Alexander Sarr, go get Sarr. If you really like Risa Shea, grab Risa Shea. You have options now at that number 2 overall pick. Now, I have somebody in mind with that second overall pick because the reports are Atlanta's probably going to take Clingan. There are some other options, like I said. Risa Shea, he's a big forward who can space the floor really well. A lot of comps to Michael Porter Jr. with him. He's a good spot-up shooter. I think he shot pretty well, over 40% from 3 last year. He has a pretty high ceiling. He's decently athletic. He's a really good prospect. Another guy, Alexander Sarr, I think would be a great fit in Oklahoma City. He's long. He's athletic. He has really good feel for the game. He has the potential to be a star on both sides of the ball. Out of anybody in this draft, he probably has the highest upside. I think he legit is one of the few guys in this draft that I can be projected from right now to be a star, right? I think as long as he's developed right, there is no reason he can't be. And if Atlanta doesn't choose Clingan, that's another good fit, right? He probably has the highest floor out of anybody. A big man who can rebound, who can post up, who can hit the boards hard, right? Fixes a lot of the problems that Oklahoma City has. And I think if you drafted Clingan, he would immediately play for you guys, and he would immediately fix a ton of the problems that you have. Now, with that second overall pick, like I said, I had someone in mind, and in my opinion, I think Atlanta's going to take Clingan. From all reports, it sounds like Sarr has not been too much on their radar. So I think Clingan's going first, which leaves Alexander Sarr there at number 2. Now, like I said, this kid is raw talent, okay? He's 7'1", 224 pounds, just raw mold of clay. He has a really good feel for the game. He knows how to space. He knows how to cut. He understands professionally how to play the game of basketball. He's played in America. I forget if it was G League or overtime, but he's played in America. And then he went overseas and he played in the NBL for a year professionally. He came off the bench, so that's why his numbers aren't super good. 9.7 points per game, 1 assist, 4.5 rebounds, 52% from the field, 30% from three, 70% from the free throw line. Okay, so his shooting is not great, but he has a good stroke. He has the mechanics down. He can handle the ball. All his stuff on offense is like raw. It just needs to be developed a little bit, but he has it, right? He is capable of doing a lot of those things. But where he really shines is on the defensive end. The kid is tall, he is long, he is a great shot blocker, he has great defensive instincts, super switchable, guard 1 through 5. He's just the Oklahoma City Thunder's player like to a T, right? He is everything that they loved about Chet. He is everything they loved about SGA. He can fit next to Chet on that front court and just be super dynamic. Oklahoma City is one of the best development staffs in the entire NBA. This is partly for Sarr as well, in my opinion. Like, I personally hope Oklahoma City drafts Sarr so that Sarr can develop correctly, right? I don't trust him in Washington where he's going to get thrown in the fire and, might lose his confidence and, just not be in a great place developmentally, right? I think a place like Oklahoma City, man, he can reach his full potential and he fits perfectly in your guys' scheme. I think it would be a home run of a pick and one of your mainstays on this roster for a very long time. So now that we worked out a trade to get us a good pick in the draft, let's hit up free agency, see where we're at. So like I said, the Thunder are going to have a little over $30 million to spend in free agency. After they traded for Alex Caruso, right, they gained an extra $1 million on their cap sheet. In my opinion, I think they need to save some of this money and some of this capital, which is why I didn't want to go and get like a huge star or anything. I didn't want to tie up the salary cap flexibility with like a guy like Paul George or something, right? Where he's going to be making $60 million and then you're in a bind when J-Dub's contract comes up or Chet's contract comes up. So, I wanted to create some more flexibility by getting a guy in Sarr who would come in on a cheap contract and still be able to contribute in a big way. So as boring as it might seem and as, anti-big swing as this is, I just think like it would be smarter to kind of keep that money in your back pocket. You do have to hit a salary floor, I'm well aware. So I want to use kind of the Houston Rockets model where you go and you get some veteran guys in here, overpay them, but you keep them on shorter contracts. That way you keep that flexibility for the future for when Chet's contract comes up and J-Dub's contract are up. Now keep in mind as well, you only have 2 roster spots left, okay? Because you have all your core intact. You have all your young pieces now. You went and drafted Sarr, right? So now you're only going to have 2 roster spots available. And the only real holes I could see are, like a tertiary point guard just in case of injury or something like that, right? You got SGA, you got Cason Wallace. You just traded Giddey away. Caruso can play some point, but I think, you need somebody who's kind of more of a pure point guard. Be good to add some veteran leadership as well. So some point guards that I think would be really good fits here. Tyus Jones, D'Angelo Russell, Spencer Dinwiddie, Kyle Lowry, Cam Payne, Aaron Holiday, Malachi Flynn, or Killian Hayes. So Tyus Jones and D'Angelo Russell. I think both of these guys are going to get paid really well and probably won't be too interested in Oklahoma City, especially considering you're offering a third point guard role. Spencer Dinwiddie, Kyle Lowry, I think sort of the same deal. I think I don't think they would be capable of making as much as a D'Lo or Tyus Jones on the open market, but still I think they want some playing time, and to be a third string point guard just isn't in the cards for these guys right now. Cam Payne, Aaron Holiday. Now this might be the sweet spot. These are 2 guys I think that you can get on a good deal, and they would come in and be perfectly fine with being that third point guard. They're both playoff caliber guys who have come in on really good teams and played a role similar to this and contributed, right? When they were called upon, they're good enough that, if you need them during the regular season, they can come in and they can contribute. Malachi Flynn, Killian Hayes. So these are 2 guys if you want more projects, right? If you want somebody who can come in and be more of a developmental guy. But, I want somebody who's a little bit older than these guys and, can bring a little bit more leadership and some more experience. And now let's check out some backup bigs. Because in my opinion, Sarr, I want to hold off on him playing, backup center at least for a year until he gets a little bit bigger. He has the capability to play, the 3, the 4, or the 5 as well laterally as he moves. I think it'd be wise to keep him at that backup 4, bring in another 5 who can handle some of the bigger bodies like a Jokic or something in the West. So you got Nick Claxton, Isaiah Hartenstein, Mo Wagner, Andre Drummond, Jalen Smith, Dario Saric, James Wiseman, Mo Bamba. So Claxton and Hartenstein are going to get big contracts. Would it be wise for Oklahoma City to look at those guys? Sure. I think, it'd be worth a look. Though Sar kind of is like the young version of Claxton, so I don't know if that's the route. There have been reports that Hartenstein and Oklahoma City are mutually interested. If Hartenstein is willing to come in and be the backup to Chet, I think that's perfectly fine. But in my opinion, he should be looking for a starting role somewhere. Mo Wagner, Andre Drummond, I think either of these guys, you can pay them a big amount of money to come in and fix some of the holes on this roster. And they would be perfectly fine being backups. Drummond's been a backup for a long time. He's so good. I think he could be a starting caliber center in the NBA still, but he's fine with being a backup most places. Mo Wagner had a really good year, productive year in Orlando. He's more of an offensive-minded center than Drummond, and Drummond's like an elite rebounder, so I think that might be the best target for Oklahoma City. Got Jalen Smith, Dario Saric. I think same thing. You can pay these guys a ton of money. They'd be perfectly fine being backups. I think Jalen Smith, is a lot better than Dario Saric, but Dario Saric would bring something a lot different than, a lot of your other guys. Plus, he's played in Oklahoma City before. And then Wiseman and Bamba. I think both of these guys, like Killian Hayes and Malachi Flynn, I think they're a little young. They're going to need some more development. Are both like top 10 picks that just haven't worked out so far. So these are more guys like if you really want to go on the developmental track and see if you can bring something out of these really talented guys, that's worth a look. But with only 2 roster spots on the team, I think it'd be wiser to go and get somebody who's going to prove it right now and bring something to the team right now. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and acquire Andre Drummond and Aaron Holiday as my 2 favorite ones out of those free agent targets. So that would give you a rotation of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander backed up by Cason Wallace, Alex Caruso backed up by Isaiah Joe, Lou Dort backed up by Ousmane Dieng, Jalen Williams backed up by Alexander Sarr, and Chet Holmgren backed up by Andre Drummond. With a deep bench of Kenrich Williams, Jalen Williams, Aaron Wiggins, Lindy Waters III, and Aaron Holiday. So with the Caruso move, right, I haven't been able to speak on this yet, but the Caruso move allows you guys to have one of the best backcourt stopping units in the entire league, right? Between Cason Wallace, Alex Caruso, Lou Dort, and SGA, right? SGA might be the 4th best defender out of those guys, and he's a damn good defender. Like he is legit, could be an all defense caliber defender. But this allows him to play, to focus more offensively and conserve his energy defensively. Now, no matter what, he's always going to be like the 3rd best defender on the floor at all times, which is wild to me. So Caruso allows you a ton of flexibility that way. Cason Wallace, another year of development. I think he's going to be really good. I was a huge fan of his coming out of the draft. And at your forward spots, I'm hoping that Ousmane Dieng can take a big step. He was in the same draft class as Chet and J-Dub, and he just hasn't been able to prove it yet because when he came in, he was super raw, right? I talked about him earlier. He was just really a raw talent. But I think this is a chance, an opportunity for him to come in and finally make a big impact on that rotation. And then you got a bunch of size now. You have Sarr at the 4. You got Chet at the 5. You have Drummond at the 5. You got J. Will as another big that can play the 4 or the 5. You just have a ton of versatility, a ton of switchability there. You can go like last year with J-Dub and Chet. You can go J. Will and Chet. You can go Sarr and J. Will. You can go Drummond and Sarr. You could there's so many possibilities in that front court now. A ton of positional versatility with that backcourt. A ton of positional versatility with that front court. And in my opinion, this is a 60-win team here. I know it's not a huge swing, right? I mean, let's say you do go and get a Paul George. You're winning 65 games. I think a roster like this, you're winning 61, 62. I don't think the extra $60 million you're going to be paying for a Paul George is worth the 3 extra wins for now. That's probably going to start diminishing in a year or two. You know what I'm saying? Right? Everybody wants to take a big swing, wants to go big on this window that Oklahoma City has right now. But I think Presti's smarter than that. I hope that, I don't look dumb at the end of this, and Presti goes and makes a huge move, and it makes you guys just a 70-win team, and you guys win the championship very easily next year or anything like that. If you disagree with anything I came up with here, please let me know down in the comments. I just try to bring some fresh, thoughts and ideas to your guys' fan bases. So that lends to disagreement a lot of the time. So that's fine. Let me know down in the comments. I appreciate it. But if you did like this content, hit me with a like, subscribe to the channel. Really help your boy a lot. I'm so close to 100 subscribers. So if I could get to 100 before the draft, that would be freaking awesome. I love you guys. Appreciate you guys so much. To my subscribers, I love and appreciate you guys so much. Y'all are amazing. Love you guys. Talkin BS. We out.